background.
No, mine is I know people are going to wonder always what the hell did I just what the hell did I just do? Give me a second here. I'm just doing one last live thing. I'm doing this on the air because I am by myself. I know people are going to wonder always what the hell did I just what the hell did I just do? But anyways, hold on a second here. That's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just all I'm doing right here. If you're listening to me and you're welcome, and I'm Josh Pentelresco, blah blah blah. I'm putting basically that we're on now, and I'm just putting a link up there so people can come join, and that's it. The link is up, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this continuous experiment countdown to my talk show, Countdown to 101 Tales. I am Joshua Pentelresco. My guest is the one and only JD Estrada. And I said this off the air. He's one of the coolest. Like, honestly, he's been super cool to me this year. I've really been grateful to him. He's been graciously agreed to be. He's great. He's gone on his way to help me out, and I've really been appreciative of that. So I just want to say that real quick on the air. Thanks very much, buddy. And how is life treating you?
There's something about. I think there was something about an election and a virus going on. I'm not sure. I don't keep with the news. I've been reading stuff. I've been playing video games. I've been trying new beers. I've been trying candy, and that's had my focus. The rest, I don't know. It's just chatter in the background.
I wish. God, I wish.
Nah, but just getting organized. This year has been all about just going on the fly, adapting. If something's not working, shift so that I can stay productive and stay happy. Because if I stay productive and I stay happy, good things happen. Yeah. If I get in the gargoyle phase, bad things happen. Not just to my neck, but from my neck to my colon, just everything gets stuck.
It kills everything. No, see, I came to a realization very early on about this whole crazy time. In one very real way, the world has not changed. Life still goes on, right? And so you have a choice. You can stop. I mean, hey, listen, everybody's got their own pains here. I mean, this is not an easy time for anybody, and I totally get that. But if you can find a way to make peace with what the time is and make the most of it, you can accomplish a lot of things, right?
Yeah, but rather than being productive, I just do it for my sanity's sake. Because some people, I've seen a lot of people, this is the time to do whatever, and a lot of people are doing whatever they can to keep their head above water. And the last thing that they need is life goals and metrics and milestones. It's like, dude, just get a notebook and write whatever's in your soul, and something cool might happen.
Exactly. No, I see. I totally went with the mantra and the goal thing, but then I'm crazy. That's just who I am. That right. I think the most important thing I think about this time is you. Like whatever that is. If you need just to do things to chill and have a good time, this is the time for it. If you're like me, wanting to go for some big goals and big dreams, go for it. Because what the hell, right? If you want, the important thing is no matter what, for whatever your reasons, you don't just stay still for too long. That's the important thing.
Don't stay still. No. And the thing, right now it's Nano. I'm not doing NaNoWriMo. A lot of people I do know are doing NaNoWriMo. A lot of people from Puerto Rico, a lot of people from the States, a lot of people have the conditions to do NaNoWriMo, and I'm rooting for them. And if they need like a pep talk, I'll give it to them. I did Nano once. November is not a kind month at any job that I've ever had in my 16-year career. 16 years, and I've had 1 year where I went, let's do it. And I finished it because I'm stubborn as hell. Not because anything cooperated, not because things are flowing. I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And there were days that I was like James Brown, and I needed someone, oh God. And then
so you hated yourself by the end of that. You hated yourself by the end of that.
I took it as a learning experience.
Okay.
And as such, and I was like, I'm gonna finish this no matter what adjustments I have to make. And I had to make some crazy adjustments in terms of waking up at 6 and writing for at least an hour, editing whatever, or going out to lunch and working there, or at night or whatever it took, I did it, and I could do it, but again, just the circumstances were just so crazy for me in November. For some other people, it's like the perfect month, and I'm like, I like November to eat turkey, travel when that was an option,
Yes.
beyond that, get slammed with work. And when you work in advertising, and I'm sure this applies to a lot of industries, it's like, I'm gonna go on PTO vacation for 5 days, and they go like, no worries, you're gonna earn it. And those last 2 days, oh,
Yeah. No, I looked at it. I look at like this is the first month. Like honestly, I'm trying to launch this talk show thing. If I wasn't doing that, I could actually do NaNoWriMo, but it seems like people want me to interview them a lot right now, or I'm getting like I say, hey, who wants to be me? I had Chuck on like the late night before, and we just talked heavy metal for like we talked Canadian cities and heavy metal for like an hour. It was fantastic, right? And
did you talk poutine?
No, we did not. Poutine did not come up. Tim Hortons coffee did come up though.
Is that
where you're at?
No, that and maple kisses are what often comes up in conversation that I'm missing out on. With other stuff, I think England and Canada, as they say in the office, are tied in terms of me having to try a Lion bar, and I think it's more prevalent in England. And it's like a coffee crisp from Nestle.
Yeah, I know.
That's great.
The British one's better. I'm not gonna lie. The British one's better.
That's great.
But no, it's one of those. Yeah, like I said, with the whole. Hey, my phone's popular. Cool. With one of those things about like this time is there's no. In one real sense, I mean, you put as much pressure on yourself as you want to, like in terms of your productivity goals. I'm at that point in my life. Like I said, we've talked about this in the past. I'm done. I don't want to work for people anymore. I'm done, and I just don't want to. And so that means I gotta become my own boss and discipline myself. And it's been a good learning. It's been a good learning experience. This has been my most productive year in terms of creating stuff. So we'll see where it leads me in a year or two down the road. But I mean, I certainly am very happy with what I've accomplished that way so far.
Creativity has a way of coming when you least expect it also, at least for me, because some people are extremely methodical and other people's are constantly pantsing, and for me it comes in waves, and I don't know if it's because I have such passion with waves, but when there are waves, I can write like 2,000 words here, 3,000 words here, a full short story here, a full short story there, and then low, not even a ripple, and I go like, I don't
that's
like
okay.
it.
But that's okay.
But I get antsy, and I go like, what's going on? And until another set hits, and then I just go with it.
But there is something to be said about that too. I do think it takes I think from a creative standpoint, it takes confidence to take a day off. Like it takes a lot of confidence to do that and take time away. But sometimes you need it, right? Yeah. I'm halfway through a novel I'm writing right now. I took a break, not because I don't know where the novel's going, but I just felt like that feeling that I needed to stop it for the moment. It's just like, you know what? It's not quite ready for me to finish just yet, right?
Yeah. Right. On one occasion, I actually forced myself to stop writing, and then I was like, but I gotta say, and I'm like, don't write. It's like Jekyll and Hyde crazy stuff.
No, we all have it.
And then I was like, okay, now we're gonna write. And I was like, yeah, let's write. And I was so eager and antsy and amped up to write that I just tore it up. And that worked on that occasion. But I am a very odd creature in terms of method. And I'm always switching it up because some people find their formula and it's like that's their jam, that's their go-to. And I'm always screwing around with the formula to either find different routes on how to be creative, or just to keep myself entertained, because it's like solving a puzzle. Once you solve it, you go like, well, we're going to solve it the same way. And part of storytelling for me, or just writing, whether it's an essay or poetry, it's solving the puzzle. And each little monster, I have to solve it in a different way.
But that's good. I mean, it challenges you. It stretches you out. It gives you that, like, that ability to go, like, okay, like, can I top myself? Okay, like, I think this is for me. This is my second novel I've ever done. Like, in terms of, like, I would say in this era, my high school novel is my closet novel. I will stay forever. There, I still have it. It's a great thing that actually I do have it on my hard drive. Every once in a while, I read it. It makes me cringe in all the, like, wrong ways. But every once in a while, I read it. This is like, I noticed, like, there's a big jump professionally between my first book and my second book. I thought about a lot of things differently now that I've done it. Is that what happens with you too, or?
Well, I learned mistakes that I don't want to. You can commit 1,000 mistakes, but committing one mistake 1,000 times is rather a bore.
Yeah.
And I learned from there are a lot of lessons from book one. First off, back up your manuscript in several places. Shout out to Juan, a friend, an ex-coworker of mine, at an old job. My jump drive with my novel, my finished novel, my edited novel, crapped out on me, and he basically took apart the jump drive, hotwired the thing, downloaded all the files, and saved it. And so if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have. I don't know what would have happened. It would have been bad. So I learned that one. Second off, I write novels normally by hand, and then I transcribe. Transcribe as you go. The first novel, I wrote it all by hand. 5 luscious, gorgeous notebooks of chicken scratchings and hieroglyphics. The transcription and editing process was painstaking, to put it lightly, because I didn't go as I didn't transcribe as I went. I'm never going to do that ever again. And in terms of writing, the first book, people say, "Oh, are you ever going to edit it? Because now that you know how to blah blah blah." And I go like, "No, I want people to discover my voice at the same point that I discovered it, which is around chapter 10, 11, or 12." And that little, you see the shift of me I stopped being fancy and using big words and long sentences, and you see the narrative go like, "This is the story. Stop doing that. Let's focus." And the second book, honestly, I read both books this year as a reader, and the second book doesn't give you any break. It's like it starts off, and you go like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna read one chapter." It's like, nah, bitch, no. If you had plans, you're gonna cancel them. So that's great. So in that sense, I was really happy with it, but I did some things better here than I did here, and I did some things better here than I did here. So hopefully, book 3 will be Baby Bear.
Okay, Baby Bear, yeah.
That is my goal. That is my goal.
I love that you put a Goldilocks reference in this podcast. Love it. But actually, it's like it's funny because I'm actually looking at some of the, like, obviously for one of my projects, I'm doing an Alice Creek myth thing, so I'm rereading Alice in Wonderland an awful lot. Right, I'm even doing it as a podcast, like a little bonus right now. Man, those books were fun. Like, all those kids' books are just hysterically fun.
But I have to reread Alice in Wonderland and pace myself, because the first time I read it, actually both times I read it in like, one I read it in a flight, and the other one I read it in 2 days. So it's like, just take your time. Take your time. Don't devour it, because there's a lot to take apart in Alice in Wonderland. And the thing is that it is so out there. People ask me, "Oh, do you think that would work in middle grade?" And I'm like, "Have you read Alice in Wonderland? Alice in Wonderland is weird. It's deep. There's a lot of symbolism. It's not an easy read. People go like, 'Oh, it's light.' It's like, no, it's kind of dark, buddy."
Actually, no, it's very, very dark. It's just, Carol did a very good job of surface. There's surface level. It is easy read. It is a very easy read on the surface, but only on the surface. If you decide to actually take a deep dive into any of the symbolism in there, I have an annotated Alice in Wonderland. So the cool thing about that is I'm getting the literary commentary from the actual Carol Society on the inside of all the little things in there. Oh man, the ideas it's given me for my series is just incredible. And right now I'm trying to look for like the perfect bird in Greek mythology to be croquet. I'm looking for it because flamingos just don't work there. It just maybe I do put them in anyway, but I would have to make them Greek characters of some kind. I'm not quite sure. Oh my god, I just figured out what I could do there.
Were there swans in Greece? I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, you know what? That might be a way to look that up because that would work.
In terms of it's not a flamingo, but in terms of body, that maybe a peacock.
Nah, peacock doesn't work. Doesn't quite work.
The thing is that a peacock, if you take away the tail, it's just a turkey. It's a pretty turkey. But it's a turkey.
No, it is no, but because of this is I'm going to tell you the plot for Alice 1. It's very simple. The queen is in the middle of the labyrinth, and Alice is playing Jason croquet through it.
Ah, man.
I'm crazy. What can I say? But it's going to be fun read.
But if you're having fun, you're doing it right.
Exactly.
That's what I always say. And the other thing is I say, I want this to be the next whatever. And I go like, then you can do that. That's an option, but you're missing out on so much fun. That's what I always say.
Well, I could like, look, I'm sure I have this great literary classic in me somewhere, but the thing about it is, that's not what they did. When they were writing because they had a story they believed in so much that they wanted to tell it.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. That's all it was. So I don't want to be the next. So I love yes, I'm doing a Lewis Carroll Greek mythology homage. Guess what? I love both stories. That's why I'm putting them together. I was asked nicely first, but now I can't help myself. That's just the way I am, right? But the thing about it is, I'm a fan. If I wasn't a fan, I wouldn't be able to do it. With like in my science fiction, I'm a fan. I wouldn't like. I'm doing what feels fun to me. What I'm hoping to do is I make it better and less confusing for everybody else. That's basically I'm trying to be better at controlling my imagery and controlling the feelings I inspire in people.
Okay.
Right? Because it's not the story we all tell I think it's the same 5 or 6 stories that we all tell. It's how we tell it. So then what's important then is if you can control the tone or the scenery or like the imagery and create a certain thing of what you're showing the audience and what you're not going right. If you can master that, you can tell so many stories so many different ways because that's our notes. That's our piano keys.
Yeah, right? and that's why I also jump from genre to genre because I think creativity and how you can be creative in different genres is going to tap into different stuff. I love writing middle grade because of that. Because I think out of all of what I write, it's the one that has the least amount of rules. And it's like anything goes, and I love that. And I remember as a kid playing The Adventures of Nemo. And I want to get that collection for me, by the way. I remember playing Peter Pan books, Peter Pan video games and stuff like that. And just that fantasy element is so fun because there's no rules. I remember the Phantom Toll Booth. I think it's one of the most creative things I've ever read in my life because they actually take math and grammar and make it fun.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why it can't be. And I hate that people go like, oh, that sucks. Read that.
I actually want to use to teach kids science. Do you know what I actually want to use? Lego. Because you can teach anything and everything with Lego. DNA. Take 4 colors, make each color a letter. And suddenly you can teach them how to read DNA. Right? That's chemistry. You can also do that with chemistry and physics and all it's all there. Right?
Did I ever tell you about my Blank Comics project?
No.
Blank Comics is a tribute to my grandmother. Different people in my family and my life, they're going to appear in the stories as characters or even places. Blank Comics is its own project because my grandmother had advanced glaucoma. And she basically, if she saw you, she would only see like a silhouette, and it just kept on progressing. But when she would tell me a story, it would be like, lavish, detailed stories. And my grandmother's story is just epic enough to inspire its own other tribute, which she will get. But basically, I do the grids for the comics. I do the dialogue, and I put bullets below the grids, saying what has to appear in the grids. But there's no drawings because, as a storyteller, I'm blind, and people have to show me the story. I have different titles, and one of them is called Math Marauders because eventually I do want to. If there's any math teachers that think this is a cool idea and you would like to work with me, by all means, write me, contact me, JD Estrada. Writer.
Elementary school teachers that do listen to my stuff, you've heard this guy. Contact me. Actually, you know what we're going to do at the end of the episode, or at the end of this? Plug where people can find you, especially if I'm teachers to contact. That's a really cool idea.
Because beyond a writer, I also work in advertising as an associate creative director. I've also worked as a senior copywriter, and I've worked as a translator freelance. And also that's a big chunk of my day job. But I've translated several textbooks, which in theory sounds fun. But when you translate a math textbook about a kid who's 8 years old and goes to the supermarket to buy milk and cheese and oranges, you go like, what 8-year-old says, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to go to the supermarket. I got to get that off my list. It's like, dude, it's a child. And I would really, really love to team up with someone to make it fun. There's no reason why math can't be more fun, except that, a lot of teachers, they don't know how to teach that fun, or maybe they want to teach it fun, but they haven't found someone that will help them. I would love to help you.
So JD Estrada, math genius.
Not really. I'm a writer, and I need math geniuses and genius I need a student. I need a student that will say, well, what grade are you shooting for? And I would say, I don't know, 8 years old, 9 years old, and they go like, they should cover this, and I'm like, okay, what about doing a story with this and this and that, and for them to go like, I like that.
Okay, so basically, you'd be looking for students, make your book cool. Like, help me be cool. Help, right?
Help the 40-year-old be cool because I am 40 now.
Because so every time I'm asked for like a rewards card at a coffee place, I'm like, I'm not cool enough, and people are actually starting to laugh at me because it's like, yeah, I'm good with it. I just don't want to. It's one of the nicest ways to say no. I know how to do, and it works, right? Yeah, but again, I've made peace with being uncool. All I really care about at this point in my life is having fun, right? And if I'm the only one having fun, so be it. I mean, I would rather. I want it. Life's too. Okay, so I heard a really good quote. Everybody hears about life's too short, right? But life is short on time, but long on possibilities. I would rather worry about the long possibilities and do it in the short time, as many of them as I can in the short time I have. Because I think that makes it worthwhile.
Indeed.
Makes sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I gotta ask this: all the candy awards. Okay, so JD puts like these candy things on Facebook every Wednesday.
Snack down.
Sorry, my bad.
Snack down.
I'm calling. Most of the time, I call it my sugar levels are going to jump through the moon between column A and column B. But sometimes they're amazing. Sometimes I'm like, nah, but they're fun. So my question is, what's your favorite of all those stuff you put up there? What's your actual favorite?
As in candy?
Yeah.
If I would have to pick a candy bar off the top of my head, like a commercial candy bar, not something specialty, I would probably go with Zero Candy Bar, which is white chocolate, nougat, caramel, and I think it has peanuts. In terms of a candy bar, it just ticks all the boxes, and I do enjoy white chocolate. And people say, "Oh, white chocolate is garbage," and it's like, I know it's fat and sugar and cocoa butter, and I do not care. I enjoy it. Let me enjoy it. Because I enjoy white chocolate, but I also enjoy dark chocolate, and I enjoy milk chocolate, and I enjoy all sorts of stuff. And the challenge is balancing out, and then having celery for a snack, so that I go like, I'm not doing such a bad job.
Did you check the place I sent you? Did you actually check it out? Because if you didn't, you should. That would be. I showed that. No, you got like that. That will wreck you. That will wreck you. You will look at that. You'll say, "Holy shit! I have to get some." Christina Z. She was like, I asked her, "What kind of chocolate do you like?" And I showed her this place. She ended up looking at the whole slice. She's like, "Oh my god!" It's like, yeah.
I saw 3 screens and I was like, I can't do that. I'm like, no, this will not end well. This will not end well.
It will end well. You'll have to pay for it later, but you'll be like, it will end well. It will end well.
As it is, I'm struggling to keep a balance and not go like, you know what, I'm gonna have another Twinkie. It's like, no, man. It's like I'm like Tallahassee in Zombieland. It's like, oh,
it's like, you just that quest for the Twinkie, the quest for the perfect Twinkie.
He's I'm not sure if he's vegan or vegetarian.
I think he's vegetarian.
I'm not sure, but
yeah,
the Twinkies in the movie aren't fake because you can eat them, but they're actually cornmeal and some other stuff that is vegetarian vegan.
Yeah.
So he could eat it. And I go like, oh, what does that taste like? And I'm like, I don't know if that tastes so good though.
Whatever works, right? Because the movie industry is interesting. Before everything went crazy, that was my plan. I was going to try to get myself on some movie sets. It's a weird combination of warehousing and art. That's actually what it is, because here's your job. If you're a crew, you build a set. Then the art happens. Whatever you set you build is being used for a shoot. When it's over, you take it down. You build another set. You come back. Shoot.
Well, but building sets, they used to build sets that were so gorgeous, and they still do it on occasion. But the last movie that I could tell you that it was basically like a diorama and stuff was Moon. And that movie that doesn't use CGI, I was just so blown away. And just to know that the how much they had to bust their ass to do that movie, I go like, I love it even more. And it's like Labyrinth.
Yeah.
When you see Labyrinth and you see that it's all puppets and it's all physical.
Labyrinth's one of my favorite movies. Like, just because, well, okay, 2 things. Number 1, David Bowie knows how to be a villain.
Oh yeah.
But here's the best part. A lot of people don't realize it. He didn't do very much in that whole movie. He just knew how to play the part, and he had fun. He had so much fun with it.
He was dressed like a Victorian Axl Rose from Welcome to the Jungle, and he rocked it.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like, hey, wait, I get to do this, and you get to get all this nasty, evil stuff. You get to put it on the air. Fantastic, and being a bad guy's fun. Like, in certain scenarios, it's actually so cathartic. Like, let that side of you out.
Well, I'm sure it is, and it has to be traumatic in certain roles, but in a lot of them, it's like there has to be some of that.
Well, yeah, no, because you have permission, right? We always have to kind of hold ourselves back. The one thing about being a bad guy. So this is the thing I believe about bad guys. Bad guy can say and do anything. That's fine, but they have to have credibility. So if they don't have any credibility, the moment they don't, that credibility gets lost somehow, some way. You stop taking them seriously, right? I look at, say, Freddy. The first Nightmare movies he is the baddest mofo on the planet. Right?
And what sadistic bastard thought that? It's like, if you go to sleep, you're gonna die. It's like,
yeah. And he is the monster of monsters, right? Then I think it's Nightmare 4. He's no longer the monster because they destroyed his credibility, right? And once they destroyed it, now, don't get me wrong. On a small level, I did enjoy Freddy versus Jason. It was fun. It was. Yeah.
Even Nightmare on Elm Street 4, is that the one with the video game?
Yeah.
even that's hokey fun, and it's enjoyable. I think when it suffers is if it gets to that slapstick level, but they're still doing it in a way that it's enjoyable. Great. If it's just cringeworthy and you go like, man, nothing is. I can't even enjoy this, even under the influence, if I chose to.
There's a credibility issue there because what's happening there is when we go into any story, there are expectations that have to be fulfilled by the story we're telling. Right now, the challenge is to do it in a way that fulfills those expectations, but in a way they don't necessarily see coming. Because if you can do that, you have a great story. Sometimes you're an asshole enough you actually give the ending away in your story without I've said this in other things. My favorite one's The Matrix. So the Oracle goes to Neo. It's like you have the gift, but it looks like you're waiting for something. Like what? The next life, maybe. Who knows? And I'm like, oh, you bastards. You bastards. Because that's exactly what happened. He died, he came back, he was the one. It's like, well done. I'm pissed at you, but well done.
But you took a good franchise, or at least a solid franchise, even though it dips with each movie. But take something erratic like Saw. The first Saw movie isn't that great of a movie, but it has one of the best endings that I've ever seen in cinema. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, head blown. Whoa, what? The second one, it's raw. It's very hostile in that sense. It's very all of the scenes you go like, oh, that's uncomfortable, but it drags and it doesn't, it has a lot of filler. The third one is pretty solid, and the fourth one and the fifth one suck to I don't know to what level. 6 is watchable, and 7 it's like the worst payoff that you could get from a series. It's like, well, you gave us the answer that we wanted, but we didn't know that we didn't want.
Sometimes it's better not to know. I think.
Look at Lost. Look at Lost. Look at all the answers that we got from Lost, and how many are you satisfied with? There's half of them you go like, that kind of sucks.
I think again, the first season of Lost is the best season. Everything it goes downhill from there. It goes down.
First two for me. I have no complaints. Third season, we start to go like, what was that? Fourth season, someone had some bad stuff.
Well, no, this is what I think it is, and I think this is a North American problem. I just did it's going to come out for Anime Network very shortly. One of the big problems we have with television and movies, and not movies so much, television and comic books, is we don't think about Act 3s. Acts 1 and 2 are super sound and solid, but we don't have an Act 3. I truly think for going forward, I think most shows should have an Act 3. If not, at least, hey, we can put some stuff in the middle somewhere if this gets really big. But why not have an Act 1, a strong Act 2, and a very strong Act 3 all built in already, so that when it's time to end it, you end it. Right? Yeah,
but there are movies that the first 35 minutes are just a masterpiece, and then it goes and it sucks, and you go like, what happened?
Well, okay, so there's two parts of that one for me. Money issue, I understand it. That one I give people a lot bigger of a pass maybe than people that just don't know, because movies cost a lot of money. Like I look at the end of Deadpool, like the end of the first Deadpool movie. They were running out of budget. You could see it, right?
Okay. What about Office Space? Office Space, the first 40 minutes are like, for me, just some of the best, cinema that I've ever seen. And then it's like, meh.
My favorite thing is he just kept getting promoted as he gave less and less of a shit. I thought it was hilarious, but also ironically so true. Like there's a lot of truth in that too.
Yeah.
I don't care. So we want to move you up. Why? I don't care.
It's like we see potential in you, but I don't care. That's why we see potential in you, because you have seen that the game is rigged and that it's not worth it, and you are an asset, my friend.
Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, I don't understand.
The things that sometimes hard work pays off, other times ass kicking pays off, other times some people are just born with like all the angels go like, yeah, give him a mulligan, give him whatever he wants.
Yep. Oh yeah, life's unfair, like, universally unfair. I actually think that's secretly our salvation, because that means no matter how bad we screw up, we almost always get a second chance. Some of us get more screwed than others, but let's be honest, right? By and large, most of us get that second chance, and that's. I actually am grateful that life's unfair, or I'd be dead. I'd be dead, So, but no, looking at it honestly, Office Space, like the first 40 minutes, I wouldn't mind the last. I didn't mind that the squirrel guy got the money. That part I actually I
liked it, but it does have a dip in quality.
Because, no, I didn't mind the ending. I think what happened was he had a very solid act 1. He had a halfway decent act 2. I think the halfway decent. It wasn't fully thought out, but it was a halfway decent mark 2, and as such, he only had a halfway decent act 3. Right? It was because act 2 just did not quite give you the setup to go to like.
Now, the thing is that I've worked in an office setting, and so many things from the Office Space and The Office, the show, ring so true. And actually, The Office is pretty. It ends up I was satisfied with the ending, and it did have a dip in the end because they were trying some different stuff. That I go like, what are you doing? Don't break it. Yeah. But to this day, a series that finished how many years ago? And
the British or the American?
The American.
About I'm gonna say 5 years ago. I'm gonna say 5, maybe a little.
I'm gonna look it up. I shouldn't do this. This is rude.
It's okay.
Kid, this is rude. But my office, my wife is a huge Office fan. And we're actually,
the British show is better.
We watched one episode, and the thing is that since we started with the American version, it's a culture shock. So we would have to kind of unlearn or forget a bit of what we grew to love because of that series. Let's see. It lasted until 2013.
Okay, so a little longer than I said. But I mean, it was. For me, The Office was. I couldn't watch a full season at a time. I could watch a couple episodes because I found this is the thing for me. I found Steve Carell's character was. I actually thought it was the problem of the show. I thought everybody else was more interesting than he was. Right, and I get that was part of the gag, but when you have that gag for that long, it's like, oh God, please, just. I honestly think that show would have been better if they just constantly recycled the boss, because I would.
I love Steve Carell.
No, he's a talented guy. Like by the way, this has nothing to do with him as a talent. It's everything to do with I just think his character was just very.
No. The thing is that Michael Scott, the talent that he has for you wanting to choke him, and then he says something, and you go like, I can't hate you. Why can't I hate you? That's something that I don't think anyone else could have pulled off.
Yeah. I still remember the one where he promised them a surprise and gave everybody ice cream sandwiches. And like,
oh God,
that's what that one made me go.
That one, I told my wife we're gonna probably watch it again. There's only one episode that I just can't. Maybe when we get to the point, I'll watch it. But it's the one with the scholarship. It's just, oh God, it just hurts because you're like, they're gonna pull back, and it's not gonna be as bad as you think it is, and it is. It is very bad. It is very bad, and you feel awful by the end of that episode. And it's meant to make you feel awful.
But that's the whole point, right?
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Everybody, but that is a mark of a good show. Can make you feel like anything that can make you feel like that. It is the mark of a good show. I found the British one was a little smarter, like overall, right? Like again, just my opinion, just a little smarter.
It's Ricky Gervais. You're gonna get smart comedy from that guy. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's done a lot of stuff that you go like, he's the one that did that, and you go like, yep.
Mm-hmm. That's why I really enjoyed I enjoyed that series a little bit more. Not that I don't knock anybody that liked The Office in the North American version. The North American version was really good.
It's I think it's a different dynamic. I think the ensemble from the American version is very easy to fall in love with, and you wanting to, seeing a panel of them, like a live panel of them at a con, has to be so much fun.
Oh, you know, because they enjoyed working with each other. You could tell. You could tell they actually you could tell it. Dwight, the guy who played Dwight, had a blast. I could totally see it with him. He's like, I can wait to do this. What? I know a guy like I almost would. I bet if I had that conversation, it's like, you knew a guy like that, didn't you? You're like, oh yeah.
Nah, that and again, yes, it did have a dip in quality, but I think that most series. I haven't seen the last season of Schitt's Creek, and that's like, I haven't seen the last season of Schitt's Creek or The Good Place, and those two series are amazing in the sense that I can't think of a weak episode, which is insane.
Okay, so this is the thing about Schitt's Creek for me. I think it is an incredibly well thought out, solid series. I've never gone to like the nth degree with it, but I've never dipped either. It's always been like, you're a solid show. You're a solid, smart show. Eugene Levy's a genius, and that cast is amazing.
I adore Catherine O'Hara. Every time I can't. I at one point I thought I couldn't think of her outside of Beetlejuice, and then she did this role, and I'm like, oh man.
I always thought of her in Home Alone. She's the mom.
She's that would be third in the running for me, because as a kid I watched Beetlejuice so much.
Oh yeah, Beetlejuice is fun. Beetlejuice. You know, I'm scared. I would love to see a remake of it, and yet I'm frightened that they would do it.
They've talked about finally doing the sequel. They've talked. They haven't finalized anything. They haven't said that they're going to do it.
Because it's such a visually unique, like it's a very visually unique like thing, and I think that Beetlejuice as a character, there is legs that they didn't go with. And Michael Keaton's amazing, and I think Michael Keaton. If you told Michael Keaton, have fun with it, I'd be like, you know what, that'd be cool. I would love it because I think
he's all in. He would do it in a heartbeat, and he's mentioned it in several interviews and he's like, when are we going to do this? And he's the type of actor that when he cuts loose, I really, really enjoy Michael Keaton.
No, he when he's into the role, like, I enjoy. Okay, the Spider-Man movie, I thought he was an amazing Scorpion. I thought
the thing is that the Spider-Man movie for me was okay, and his character.
No, that's totally how I feel about that one too. Like, honestly, because
that car scene, man, that car scene, you're like, oh, the movie's okay, and suddenly that car scene, and you go like, man, are we watching Taxi Driver or what the hell?
The cars, him knowing that them knowing each other is such a really cool dynamic. I honestly think they should have played with that longer in the movie. Yeah. They really should have, because that was intriguing, because they understood each other. There was I think the cool thing about that dynamic was Spidey and Scorpion respected each other. Whether they didn't like each other, but there was respect there on both sides. I think, right? You could feel it. It's like they understood each other, and they're just on opposite sides of this one, and that's the way it was. Yeah,
and again, I think he was a great Batman. He did Beetlejuice. I actually, going back to the 80s, there's a movie called Gung Ho. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I did not see it. I have to watch it.
It's just a really weird topic. It's a car factory, and it's an American car factory, and people from Japan come over, and basically they have to give it an overhaul, or that factory's going to close. And it's still a compelling watch. What the hell?
Because I can see it, because I understood the era too. Like, I'm in Windsor, Ontario right now. This is a car city. Well, what's left of it anyway. it's a car city, and one of the things about that is, right, they literally watched the industry get taken away, and back when Japan was at its strongest economically, right, people were fearing that the Japanese were going to come and take over everything, and so I mean it was a very relevant topic. There was a very engaging thing, and he played a character. It sounds like he played a character that was going to be directly impacted by them coming and changing things, and people, it's easy to gravitate to that because now it's like that guaranteed income, that American dream, that livelihood, gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, like that, and and you can tell a really compelling story like that. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Glenn Ross is,
that's a brilliant movie. I love that movie.
It's a brilliant movie, but it's a movie that lives and breathes on dialogue and acting.
Oh no! So one of my favorite things, I do watch it from time to time, is the Always scene with oh man, what's his name? Damn it.
With Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I love that scene.
That that's the type of monologue that makes a career.
Yeah, no, it is one of the strongest. No, the whole movie is literally done in like 3 places. I mean, it's a low budget movie, and 3 places you could tell it was incredibly compelling because it's like, oh god, the salesman that steals that steals. What's his name?
The oldest one, Jack Lemmon.
Yeah,
I think it's Jack Lemmon. I might be mixing up.
His character.
People will correct us.
Yeah. His character was so compelling. Pacino, believe it or not, to me, he was interesting, but he was nowhere near as interesting as Jack, because you had people doing in very tough times trying to get sales, and it's a very real, that's a very real. Sales is hostile, man. I mean, it has a hostile side to it, and you gotta produce, or you're gone. It's that simple.
No, it's and it's curious because the whole selling aspect of books, going back to that, I can tell people about my books, but the whole shoving the book in someone's face, I don't like it.
I have a solution. I was thinking about you, and I have a solution for you.
I always have fun, and I if I'm not having fun, I'm not gonna do it.
No. But I have a solution for you. You want to hear it? I was thinking about this.
Bring it.
What is sales ultimately about?
Connection and conversation.
Right. You're telling a story. You're telling a narrative that you're trying to suck people in.
Yeah.
So you should. That's how you should be thinking about this. Okay. Look. You only.
I love when I'm at an event, when I'm at a con, when I'm at a convention. I hate to. It's like when I'm at a con.
Yeah, I know that. That's right.
I know when I'm at a convention and I get to talk to people and to connect, and you have a good show, because I've had shows where you don't sell that much because of a variety of reasons, but I've had shows where, man, last year in the Puerto Rico Comic Con, best show I've ever had, and I sold 118 books. Yes. And I didn't lose my voice, on that occasion.
So my best show is total chaos. So I'll tell you mine. So here's how it worked. I put myself in as a last minute substitute for a convention in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's a convention I wanted to do this. So I heard nothing back, and then Monday, out of nowhere, I got this email about table settings. I haven't been approved. I have not been approved yet. I'm starting to get information on the con. I thought, okay, maybe that was just a mistake. Maybe they put my email in by accident. I don't know, whatever. Surely they'd let me know I was coming, right? Tuesday rolls around. I still heard nothing. I get another email about information. I'm like, so I contact them. And I'm like, am I on the show? Because I'm not sure. I'm just not sure right now. Am I in or am I not? Because I need to know now. I don't hear anything until Wednesday. The show is Thursday.
Oh God! Was it just Thursday or the entire weekend?
The entire weekend.
Oh God!
So I'm like, okay, I'm in. I have 24 hours to figure. So obviously, I am not even remotely prepared to do like a full setup. There's no way because I had no time, right? And so I fly out. I get a plane. I
You,
guess
you fly out. Jesus Christ.
no way. What choice did I have? What
No,
fucking choice?
because I forgot that it was in Manitoba, and where you at based?
Yeah, I was in Alberta at the time, so it's so I had no chance because it was like I had one day to get there. So I flew down there. Fortunately for me, my sister worked at an airline, so it isn't as expensive for me as it would be for other people. That all said, still had to fly, still booked the hotel. The convention was weird because they didn't have my passes ready, or anything. It was one of the most disorganized conventions I'd ever been to. On top of that, which I kind of knew was kind of what I was walking into because I had one freaking day to be able to wear what I'm supposed to do.
Lord.
Right. But so I don't have anything. I don't even have a cloth for my table. I set my table up, bring a bunch of books. I sold them all. I had a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that con was crazy. And the worst part, I still have nightmares about that elevator. They had this, like, it's in a hotel lobby. It's a tiny elevator that you're scrunched in with I ended up giving up on the elevator because it wouldn't let me check in. I literally went, screw it. I grabbed my stuff. I lifted it. I went up a flight of stairs myself. One of the guards threatened to like fisticuff me. It was hilarious. It's like, no, don't waste my time with that shit. I just want to check in. I can't get down this floor with the elevator. Can you just take me to check in? Right. So that elevator still gives me nightmares because it's this little dinky elevator that would go third floor, first floor, third floor.
No, not a fan of faulty elevators.
Oh no! It just there's so many people. There's no chance. The one chance I had, I missed it because I didn't realize we were actually on the second floor. Oh God, when were we gonna get? So I just said.
No, but that's a huge difference. I did an event here, and just getting to the parking to undock was an adventure. It was like, I needed my own suspense music. While me and my wife, we were trying to decipher, okay, so do we cross the railroad? No. And it's like, no, you have to go through one little entrance and then this vast labyrinth of roads surrounds you. And you go like, what the hell? And then eventually we got there, but it was so bizarre versus Puerto Rico, which is like, just drive up. Here's the parking. There's the entrance. No science, which I love.
Yeah. No, just quick, easy. You understand what you're doing.
Nah, man.
Yeah, it's like no one wants a headache on the weekend, right? No one does. But that was my most successful con. So, right, so I was like, all right. So I learned some valuable lessons. I learned you really don't need a lot of no frills, and that like you don't need a lot to sell. You can just. I have a big mouth. That is the one thing I do. I have a fantastically big mouth, and it works for me. It's just one of those things. Like I don't have a problem talking people up my stuff, not because there is always that self-consciousness to it. There's always, there's no way around it. But I also realize I don't believe in my stuff. Nobody else is going to either, right? It's a very tricky balance. So I try and treat it like I'm telling a story, and I know so it doesn't feel like I'm selling something. Because that's ultimately it's not that we are trying to convince. Like writers have the job of, we have to convince you that our books are worth your time.
Yeah, right? And that comes through conversation and through connecting with people, and I have no problem with that. What I have problem is, and I have stints where I get better and I promote myself a bit better, but it's just taking the time to do the promotions and do something, and people go like, "Oh, you have a book," and I go like, "No, I have 16 out, so pick one."
Yeah, that's right. You got 16 books. So yeah, does the 20 books to 50K thing work? Okay.
No, but again, everyone's journey is different. My journey is I just enjoy what I write, and luckily,
you're incredibly talented.
No, no.
I mean, just I've seen like I'm actually like I was looking at your poetry. I was like, I'm going to for Christmas. I'm going to get myself at least one of your books. I haven't decided which one I'm getting yet, but I'm like, he's done like everything, man.
If you're gonna get poetry, get Recollection because it has all the poetry collections in one. And people go like, "Which one should I read?" And I'm like, rather than that, take this one, which has everything, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, I admire that you have that range. It's actually really incredible to see some of the things you've done. So
And it's always again that's part of my jam, and that's something that always makes me happy. And last year I got invited to write a Spanish horror story with my friends over at Libros Icon. Um, I got a story there, and then thanks to that connection, I got invited to another collection, and I've been invited to another collection, and it just opens doors because people go like, "Well, we have this that's for H.P. Lovecraft. Do you want to participate?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah.
It's like, and
dude,
the question is, what's the word count? And they told me the word count. I was like, damn, that's short. If I'm gonna go full Lovecraft, I might need an extra couple thousand words. So basically, I did the story that I'm happy with, but I'm probably gonna do 3 other connected stories to that because I'm like, there's more there. There's more there.
Yeah, that's no. Okay, so I gotta ask this: heroes or villains? What do you enjoy more? You seem like the type that enjoys the monsters. I could definitely see that you have fun with that, but.
I think I've grown to enjoy villains more, but I really enjoy anti-heroes, and I really love secondary characters that people go like, shit, why didn't you write more about that character? And I go like, because you're not supposed to have a big feeling of him or her. The middle grade work doesn't have villains.
Really?
The Given to Fly doesn't have villains, and it doesn't have violence. Because I wanted to write something that was just a fun adventure to go on.
Okay. So I find middle grades like have sometimes the best villains, right?
No, it's super fun to write a villain. It's super fun to write a good middle grade villain again because it has so much liberty. But I really enjoyed in the second and in the Human Cycle and in Shadow of a Human. I really enjoyed. I was like, I could have made the baddies badder. And by the end of the second novel, I was like, yeah, I did good. I'm happy. Because it was just when you write something, when someone enters a scene and it's unsettling, you go like, yeah, I like what I'm doing here. And when you see the line and you cross it so far that you don't know where it was, that's what I enjoy. And not being morally black, being morally ambiguous and making it a complicated thing, and to the point where sometimes you kind of root for them. I love that. Because when it's a one-dimensional villain, it's always kind of a cop-out for me.
Well, I think okay. So here's the thing. Like I was talking to somebody like on the way back here to do this chat. Wonder Woman is I love Wonder Woman as a character, but she's challenging because she's the hero. She'd be a much more interesting villain because I think there's just a lot you could do with her. But as a hero, there's only so many places you can go with her. Now, in those places, she's incredible, right? Yeah. Right. Whereas Batman is kind of morally ambiguous. I mean, just right.
Batman is dark as hell.
Can be light as hell too. It depends on. Listen, man. I still pop with Adam West. I still think Adam West is.
I grew up with that, and if a shark is not going to explode, it doesn't pose as much of a threat.
No, it doesn't. Exploding shark definitely. First Batman movie, ladies and gentlemen, that's the homage there. But I mean, there's definitely it's one of those situations where that one was fun. Batman's evolved into this very dark concept. Like he's a very much darker character now. I actually think they need to go away from it into something a little lighter again with him. My favorite Batman character is Batman Beyond. I think he is such a cool. He's more lighthearted than Bruce Wayne was, but he's still got a little bit of that Dark Knight in him. So you kind of get the best of all worlds. He's a lot cleaner than Batman is. So
Okay.
you can and he's also a different kind of Batman. He's not quite Bruce Wayne going, "Oh, I'm dark and my parents are dead." No, his mom is still alive. He's got a girlfriend. He's a human being, but he's got some of Bruce's tendencies as well. He'd be a bit of a loner when he operates. He's a bit of a smart ass. Just unlike Bruce, he'll show it. He'll show it more than Bruce does, right? But they are alike, but they're very different too. And I honestly, it's getting easier and easier for me to root for Terry McGinnis than it is to root for Bruce Wayne.
Well, it might be too familiar, and you see something different. I don't know, but it also might be you just connect with that a bit better.
Yeah.
For me, what's always been compelling about a Batman is that in a world of superheroes, he has no superpowers except that he's smart, he's disciplined, he's relentless, and if he has to break your kneecaps,
he'll do it. He'll do it if he needs to. I know he. That's what makes him interesting. He will bend rules other characters won't. That gives him a flexibility that, say, Superman doesn't have, right? But at the same token, I think Batman, just with things that we will not talk about this year that have happened, right? I just think that Batman needs to be rethought of a little bit, and just in terms of just going forward, because I think going forward, I think fiction's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be very much about this time, or it's very much going to be like croquet in a labyrinth for the Queen of Hearts.
yeah,
One or the other. I've already chosen my side. Croquet in the labyrinth with the Queen of Hearts for me.
I think I'm working on a short story collection. One of the stories is going to have mentions of the current situation, and the rest won't. And I think that will ring more true in terms of how I go about what I write. Not including it, I always include something that I'm going through, and not including it when it's such a deep well. It's just not the tried and true and the things that have been beaten to death. It's like, how can you take the prism that is 2020 and shift it in a way that people go like, oh, I didn't see it that way, and at least try to glean something off it and learn something from it, and or at least if you're exposed to it, not get nauseous at the top.
I just think for me, because I've been through my own personal apocalypse, this one doesn't ring the same way for me as it does with other people, and I'm not saying that I'm a big bad tough guy, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm saying is, it's like I've already kind of seen the deep end of the pool. I mean, going back there doesn't quite hit you the same way the second time as it did the first time. That's how I kind of see it. Like it or lump it. That's why I am where I'm at. That all said, there are some things about this time I'm definitely going to remember like forever. This has definitely been a weird year.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. And I think that's how I will describe it, is the weirdest year I think I've ever lived.
I think that applies for most people. The thing is that it's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for other people, it's all about the YOLO. It's like, oh God, I don't know.
No, it's going to be interesting to see where things go forward. We should talk about Wonderful Tales at some point here. I mean, we've been going for an hour, and I love talking.
But okay, here's the thing. We talked about conventions and whatnot. I had either 3 or 4 events. I forget because it's 2020. So I've had to get creative in terms of what I do. We've had chats. I've had chats with Joe Compton at Go Indie Now. I do my indie music reviews and I do stuff like that. I'm gonna chat. I'm gonna do 101 Tales, and I'm gonna do an event in December. The December one I'll talk further on. First off is 101 Tales. The only year that I actually didn't participate in the Puerto Rico Comic Con with a booth in the last 7 years I missed out on meeting Mog Park in person. She actually went to the Puerto Rico Comic Con and she met a fellow indie author from Puerto Rico. Maricel Jimenez is a really good friend, really talented author. Just someone that's awesome. And it's like, oh, Maricel referred me, and I'm like, okay, so let's hear it. And they go like, well, it's basically a virtual con, and I'm like, okay. So I wasn't able to do Dragon Con. I wasn't able to do Jordan Con. I wasn't able to do Atlanta Comic Con, and I wasn't able to do Puerto Rico Comic Con. So let's do this. Why not? And versus those other events where I was very strategic in terms of what I wanted to take, this is, since the nature of it is online and it's virtual, it's like, okay, I have to wing this and just try to make it more interesting. So the invitation was read some of your stories because I saw the summary of Given to Fly, and it has that Studio Ghibli feels, and I think you would be a good fit. And I go like, well, I can read that, and I can read the Daydreams. And it's like, okay, so you're going to do a half hour or an hour spot. And I'm like, let's do an hour. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to read the chapters that I'm going to read from Giving to Fly and the 2 stories in less than an hour. So what am I going to do, and why is it special, or what I'm still hashing it out. But I do have a demo that I recorded in a studio because once upon a time, I'm pretty sure it was my brother that told me, yo, they're doing free recording sessions. Here's the link. And I wrote, and they're like, well, we have available this day. And that's when I was working freelance. So try to imagine, Senor, not a singer, not a band guy, not a performer, going to a studio to record on his little acoustic guitar, and that's it. And the guy was like, oh, guys, it's going to be interesting to teach you how to record this guy, because since he only has an acoustic guitar and voice, we have to work this differently from what we did with the other bands. So I'm gonna offer those songs for anyone who buys my books in that period of time, or who buy my books in that weekend from Tazas y Portadas, which is a local bookstore in Puerto Rico. Lovely people, want to support them. Anything that can convince people to come to Comic Flex and 101 Tales, and also support that business. Why the hell not?
No,
Does that mean I'm gonna play music live? I don't know. Let's see how I feel that day. It's a possibility. If people clamor for it, which is not gonna happen.
I'm actually going to try to have my drawing of my dragon for the comic I'm working on done.
Oh, wow.
I'm my first one. I'm going to try. That's all right. I'm scared to death because this is like, talk about completely out of my comfort zone. My stick figures revolt. I don't draw well at all. I mean, I'm not exaggerating this even a little bit. So I wrote a comic script about a creator that's drawing badly, and the first 10 pages, it's totally, it's what it's about. Like it's literally about, the first 2 words are "you're afraid," and it's basically my character called chewing my ass out about not actually, because I've had this character in my head for years, and it's a meta commentary on me trying to draw this dragon. And that's all the first issue is. It starts from me being scared out of my pants to drawing the dragon. Right? That's literally, it's 16 pages, and for about 10 of it, he's chewing my ass out. Actually, he chews my ass off the whole thing, but I start actually from page 10 on, just actually, okay, I'm going to do it.
But no fire, just chewing, no fire.
No. Well, no, I haven't drawn yet to actually make fire yet. That comes later. So like that's it. That's issue 2. Issue 2, I start drawing things, and he gets to judge me. It's going to be really, 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 really like awkward to get judged by my own creation about art. But it's actually, I've always wanted to do comics, and as a writer, the hardest thing is to draw. Now, I'm not saying I'm ever going to be a world-class artist, but finishing a story in that format is going to open doors for me to do more in that format.
Definitely.
Something I love to do, and I want to do it, and that's kind of what I'm going for.
Have you ever read Bone?
Yes, love Bone.
Oh, the dragon in Bone is so good, so good.
Oh, Jefferson, that is one of the great books. For me, Bone is great. Distant Soil by Colleen Doran's amazing. I like that book a lot. Star Child by James Owen's an amazing book too. Let's see here. So my first interview, like when I started doing comic book interviews, was Stan Sakai. Usagi Yojimbo. I got to interview him over the phone. He's my first phone interview ever. So I've always been very blessed that with the comic book creation gods have always been very kind to me in terms of the kind of people I get to interview. But I'm like, you know what, I'm so I went to a Lights concert. We're gonna say about a year or two ago. I talked about right. She talked about her comic on stage, and I think one of the things she said was, you know who was stopping me from making this comic? She was trying to get Brian K. Vaughan to draw it for her, to write it for her, and he told her she should do it herself. And then she realized, you know, the person getting in the way of me doing this comic was me. I was the bitch that was in my own damn way. And it's like, you know, and that's a really. And I thought, you know what, that's good advice. And so I'm going to be doing that. I got my next novel coming out. That's going to be like a first time read in that style, in that format. Like, again, it's really the difference between me novel 1 versus me novel 2. Mm-hmm. Big difference. And the 2 books that I already have out. So that's going to be me. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm still thinking. I'm probably gonna have like an extra goodie or two, just to make it worthwhile. And that hour-long chat, it'll see what flows. Again, it's winging it, and I found it so refreshing that I had something that I could wing. That it's like, you know what? Let's go for it.
You seem like comfortable. You would seem very comfortable in that format. Like, you got a lot to say. You've done an awful lot in this, and yeah, there's honestly, you seem incredibly comfortable in your own skin. Yeah, if anybody could wing it, it would be you, man.
Well, I've winged so many things, because the worst part is when there's 2 really bad parts. When you're about to start to talk, you go like, I just wanted to start. And then wrapping it up and not going on a tangent, those are the 2 challenges for me, because it's like my brain is going in several directions. It's like, I can talk for a long while. Mm-hmm. And I need someone to go like, I need that. I need the Oscars to play the music. It's like, dude, shut up, dude. You're fun, but
it's like Jorge, get out. It's like, we love you, but go.
Again, I would probably need. There's a phrase in that they say in Puerto Rico. You have to slap him once so he starts to talk, and slap him like 50 times to shut him up.
That sounds like childhood. There's some childhood stories. No,
never got slapped by mom.
No,
I got slapped by other people, but never.
Like mom didn't slap you. Other people, yeah, could see it. Right,
no,
okay.
Dude,
it built character. Right?
I was a precocious kid, and I've always been a smart ass. The thing is that I was really rude as a kid. And I earned myself a slap. I was like 9, something like that. I'm not gonna say the full story. I'm just gonna say that, have you ever seen Only the Strong or those Jackie Chan movies where they hit someone and they go like spinning? That shit. I did like a half twirl and I ended up on the floor. My face all red. I'm laughing. Everyone's laughing except the person that slapped me. But I learned my lesson.
Oh yeah, I don't want to get hit like that twice. That's a hideous beating coming your way. That one slap could be that. Oh yeah. That would have been a hideous beating coming.
No, I'm amazed that I didn't get a tooth knocked out just from that slap.
Yeah. Oh, epic slaps then. Epic slaps.
Oh yeah, like those Russian slap tournaments.
Oh god.
That like bangs.
You can knock someone out with a slap, man. So I mean, if you hit someone hard enough, you can do it. It's brutal. It's unbelievably brutal.
Nah, if you do anything right, you can get the achieved. You can get the achieved result.
That's right.
It's a slap, an open hand, a palm strike is an open hand. It's an open hand hit. It's like, dude.
It'll KO you. Like, it can hit right and right strike. You're done. You're done. Yeah. Speaking of done, I think Mr. JD, I really enjoyed having you on the show tonight.
It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Yes. So we talked about 101 Tales. Do you know what night you're performing?
Wow, I suck. I think it was on Friday at 8 Eastern. I have a tricky time with the conversion. I'm gonna do a blog post and I'm gonna do a video on my YouTube channel talking about what I'm gonna be doing there. I'm gonna give it a little more thought to finalize my offering. Basically, I'm gonna be doing live readings. I'm gonna be taking a Q&A. If I get inspired to do something else, I will do something else. If people buy my books that weekend and they take a selfie or something, I'll send them the demo. It's 3 songs, me, original songs, not doing covers, so I don't want to get sued. If you want to hear a cover, go to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has a couple of covers. I'm not going to say which. You can find the playlist with the music.
Okay.
What's
your YouTube channel, just so people know?
JD Estrada Writer. Look for JD Estrada Writer on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter, and you're going to find me.
Okay. I think.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it super simple. Thanks very much, man. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. If you want to support this podcast, support this upcoming talk show as we're getting closer and closer to the launch date of that, hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, right? Or hit my subscribe button on my podcast, jpenteloresco.podomatic.com, just joshing. Thank you very much, guys. Stay inspired, and I'll see you guys very soon with my next guest.